Okay, part two of my retrospection of 2024. This year we did a lot. This segment will be on speakers. This year we did a lot of speakers. I don't know why. It's just for some reason speaker manufacturers were very productive, at least the ones that we represent. And so we had a lot of speakers that we did. I'm just going to highlight a few. We did the Magnepan 2.7i's. We did the new Sonetto series from Sonus Faber, the G2 series. Those are really good speakers. We did the PS Audio FR5. Certainly, as far as I'm concerned, they are my favorite from PS Audio. Now, a lot of people have asked us, how come you don't do this on the PS Audio speakers? Well, we only review products that we own, that we represent, and that we have. And so we finally got in a pair of the FR5s. The reason that we don't have the FR20s and the 30s, quite frankly, is that we have so many speakers in that price range, and frankly, we have no space. And so, whereas the FR5s are small, they're easy to accommodate, they're easy to put away. And I was also very curious to see what these little speakers would sound like. Well, you can watch the video in the link below. What I can tell you is that these are amazing speakers. They really punch, in my opinion, above their price range. Just truly wonderful speakers. We did the MoFi SourcePoint 888. Now, we've done the SourcePoint 10, we did the SourcePoint 8, and we thought both were wonderful speakers. The 888 is many respects, in many respects, a very different sounding speaker, and I don't know why that would be the case. I can tell you that they sound almost a touch mellow in comparison to the SourcePoint 8 and the 10. They are a floor standing speaker. The first impressions when you look at the speaker, they're not small, but they're not huge. But the sound they produce is so big, so dynamic, so powerful, so effortless, so wow, just, you know, it's amazing. Now, as I said, they are a little bit on the touch of the mellow side. So for some of you who really like a lot of clarity, a lot of brightness, a lot of high frequency detail, I mean, all of that is there. It's just not sparkly and bright, or not forward in any way, shape, or form. You may not like them. I think in the video I might even have said that they remind me a little bit of earlier British sound in that they're slightly polite. Reminded me of old school British speakers like the old Kefs, the old Celestians, the B&W 801s. It had that really nice, smooth, rich mid-range, but with lots of details. So not missing anything, just very smooth. But only in terms of the tonal quality. In terms of bass and dynamics, in no way are they anything like British speakers. They pound like the best West and East Coast speakers. They pound like show in Vegas. They're crazy bass power. It's just insane how much bass these things can do. I think, I remember, it kind of makes sense because every time I've seen Andrew Jones at the shows, and Andrew Jones is the designer, he likes to play music that can be very challenging, very dynamic, very powerful. I mean, years ago, I want to say over 2 decades ago, he was the one that introduced me to Deadmau5. I was listening to his TAD presentation back when he was with TAD. And he played this group. I'm going, who the hell is this? And the bass just pounds. And this is a, you know, polite British English, you know, the Queen's English speaking person who, you know, turns into Frankenstein when he plays music. Is it Frankenstein? Anyway, so his speakers, the SourcePoint 888 can certainly play serious rock, serious metal, any kind of music you want. So that's another speaker that we had a lot of fun with this year. We got in the new Wilson Watt Puppy, the 50th anniversary, and this was interesting because we had for 3 videos, I think it was, a very good client of ours, a good friend, Paul. Paul joined us, and we did a comparison with of the the What Puppy versus the Sabrina versus the Sasha V. Now, Paul himself owns the Sasha DAW, so the previous generation of the Sasha V. And remember him telling me, boy, if I didn't already own the Sasha DAWs, I would, without hesitation, buy the What Puppy. It's that good. So, again, for those of you who are curious about the comparisons, Curtis will link the videos in the description. Another Wilson that we got in this year was the subsonic subwoofers. And I have the big, huge two enclosure subwoofers flanking my XVXs. I don't think I've done an in-depth video of my impressions of that system. This is the most expensive speakers I've ever owned personally. The XVXs as towers driving full range, and then the subsonics just helping out with the deepest bass. I had finished setting them up, and then recently Peter McGrath of Wilson Audio came by to do presentations for our clients and helped me to fine-tune them, and with his help, they got even better. I'll do, as I say, an in-depth video on these speakers, this combination at some point, but what I can tell you is, again, it's not for the faint of heart, and yes, lots of people will say, my God, these things cost an insane amount of money, and they do, there's no doubt. For those of you who can afford it, and you have no difficulty buying the very best that your heart desires, you owe it to yourself to hear how good these things can be. They are, I wanted to say, a small version of the Wham, and although that's true, in some respects, they easily hold their own. So again, I'll go into that video another time. Two more very quickly. The Sonus Faber Maxima Amators. Now, the speakers have been out for quite a long time. We've had a couple of pairs in and out, and I've never had a chance to really hear them. Every time we've got them in, they've sold, and so I never really had a chance to hear them. Finally got them in again, and this time I decided we're going to nail them to the floor, we're going to listen to them, and they've quickly become one of my favorite speakers. They're so beautiful sounding, and I use the word beautiful very, very specifically.
My conclusion is it's the best two-way speaker I have heard.
They have this natural, effortless beauty, both in terms of form and in terms of the sound. They just draw you into the music so easily. You can play harsh music, you can play difficult music, and within seconds you'll just be drawn in. And the audiophile part of you very quickly will be shut down, and all you'll be doing is just reveling in the music. There's something quite magical about these speakers. Are they perfect? No. They are a two-way. They cannot play really, really loud, although the bass goes quite low. If you were to play music with very deep bass and at very high levels, the woofer will bottom out. If you have a huge room and you want to play it at very high levels, they're probably not the right speaker for you. But in a normal room, normal environment, at normal volumes, I don't know how you can do better, especially if you want a speaker that's slightly on the warm side, slightly on the more relaxed and forgiving side. It's a speaker that would take all day long. And then the Sonus Faber, again, another Sonus Faber, the Stradivari. We did my first impressions. I should do a follow-up because that speaker, properly set up, is another stunning achievement that Sonus Faber has done. It's a big speaker, not easy to set up. I can tell you that. I fought with the speaker a number of times, but when it's set up well, it can blow you away. And then finally, perhaps my favorite ugly duckling to white swan speaker is the Daniel Hertz Ember Midnight. Again, you should watch the video and see what I'm talking about. I can tell you that I wasn't impressed when I first got them, and I couldn't get them to sound right. And despite multiple tries, couldn't until I got it right. And when I did, wow, blew me away, and everybody that has heard it since has felt the same way. So much so that we actually sold a number of pairs as a result of that new setup. So this Ember Midnight, again, watch the video. It's yeah, you know what? I might even call it my speaker of the year, just because when it's done right, let's call it a tie. The Maxima Amator and the Ember Midnight, both very different sounds. The Ember Midnight is dynamic. It is powerful. It's like a thoroughbred Italian car. Those of you into cars, you'll know what I'm talking about. It takes no prisoners. When it's right, it's right. It'll blow you away. It's dynamic. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The Sonus Faber, although it's fully Italian for sure, it's the girl you take home to meet mom. I know I'm gonna get killed, but it is. It's that beauty that you want to be with for the rest of your life. I'm not saying that the Ember Midnight isn't. I just struggling for an analogy. Oh my God, this is horrible. Anyway, that's it for the speakers segment. Thank you again for being with us this year and for sharing our journey through the audio craziness. And if you're watching it this year, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and yours. And please stay with us in 2025. There'll be a lot more interesting things to come. Take care. Bye-bye.